Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Zelda II, The Adventure of Link. When we last left off, Bub had just started exploring the eastern continent. He got a few point bags, got the fire spell from Naburu town, and he ended up there healing up. Now he's getting ready to head north through this cave right outside the town of Naburu there. So fire match going to come really handy here. It's going to help take out those gargoyle enemies. Not that we needed to take them out, but it gives us, we fight fire with fire. They shoot fire, now we shoot fire. And it helps us take out that Zoro enemy, so. Quick cave here, and now we have two options, left or right. I'm gonna head left first. To the right is an island, and you don't want to go to the island right now, because remember, that person said, talk to the old man in Darunia before we go to the island, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna head left here, and see that town up there? That's Darunia. Now I was trying to do a little trick there, but I'll show it off a little bit later. But there's two of these battle zones along the way to the town. Now, if you encounter an enemy while on the same tile that you encounter a battle zone, the enemy will take preference. And this one's pretty tough, because that's why I just used Ferry there. We have those Octoroks and Bubbles, and both of them can knock you into the pits. So I knew I was going to refill my magic here in Darunia, so I just used my Ferry spell. Now, like the water town of Saria, people here can turn into bats, so be careful. Hey, we got an empty house here. Remember that empty house we had in Saria? Yeah, well, there's some clues in this empty house too. It said east of Naburu has, well, that's a clue to where Palace 5 is eventually, so. There was a road to the east of Naburu that led right into the ocean, so that's your clue on how to get to that palace. We were told there's boots that allow us to walk on water, so putting two and two together, get boots that walk on water. There's a road that leads into water. Get the boots, walk across the water. Hey, there's someone behind this door. And there's a chimney there. Yeah, the palace has a false wall. That refers to Palace 5. But hey, all these other houses don't have chimneys. Why does that one house have a chimney? Well, so that we can play Santa Claus. Climb up here and jump. You can't use the ferry to go down the chimney. You have to jump up there, so. Bunk. But I guess in one sense, like, the original Santa was kind of a fairy, or like an elf type, so mythical creature, sort of. And this guy, he's a spearman, and he's going to teach us another technique, the upstab. Not as useful as the downstab, but it can be useful if there's an enemy above you. It's good for those like spider enemies that come down from the trees, or going to be a lot of floating eye enemies later on in the game, so it's good for stabbing them. So let's keep going around. We still haven't found a quest yet. So, hey buddy, you got anything to say? Nope, he knows nothing. Maybe because he's a bat. No, he's not a bat. Well, he might turn into a bat if we talk with him enough, but this house here with the chimney, we got another woman who comes out. Rescue the kidnapped child on the island. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we know what our quest is to get the magic spell in this thing. A powerful knight lives in this town. Well, we already talked with him. Got the last skill. So, yeah, we only have two skills. Upstab and downstab. So, yeah. Sometimes it takes several times to talk with somebody to get them to turn into a bat. So, weak desert enemies here. We have Octoroks and Levers. The strong enemy we saw earlier, last episode, and it's Levers and then one Zoro monster. So, played a little dangerously there. It's hard to see sometimes the bubbles there a little bit, but yeah, you gotta be careful, because like I said, a bubble, if it hits you, it has knockback, it can push you into the water, so. And this one isn't as dangerous because it doesn't have bubbles, so. Get a pot though, that's nice. And now we're gonna head over to the island. There's gonna be, the island is, whatchamacallit, it's a kind of a little maze. And there's a lot of paths in the maze, and most of the paths have, you know, battle areas in them. But I'll show you, there's one way you can go through with only encountering one, you know, battle area. Well, one area there you battle, and then there's also one that has a magic container. So obviously we're going to want to get that magic container. But the rule of thumb basically is go the long way around. If it looks like a shortcut, don't take it, because you're probably going to run into a battle area. And if we go into that little corner down there, we run into, we get our third one-up doll. So that's half of them. And here is the battle area where we're gonna find the child. Now we have these like lizard enemies. They're basically almost like the iron knuckle enemies, but it seems like their spears that they carry have a little bit more range than the iron knuckle swords. So they're gonna be a common enemy in the south, past the river devil. The red ones carry maces. The blue ones, they also carry maces, and they're like the blue iron knuckles, that they have a projectile. They throw their maces, so. But otherwise, they're very similar to the iron knuckles. They just seem to have a longer range than them, so they might be a little bit tougher. Let's use our fire spell, because we'll be healing up when we get back to Darunia. Might as well get some experience. Like I said, there's not going to be a lot of time to get experience in Palace 4, because, like I said, a majority of the enemies there are Wizrobes. So hey, we saw a good use of the upstab there. We stabbed that spider as it was falling down. Alrighty. Boink. Doink. See if we can get some pots off of these guys. Be nice to get another pot. Maybe we can get a life spell in. But, nope. Oh well, we got some good experience. I think if you clear out this entire battle, you get like 130 experience. So let's see if we can do this little skip. Oop, nope, missed it. Well, this one ain't tough, so we'll go through it. We'll see if we can skip the next one though. There's our pot. Yeah, see when I hit that little ledge there, Link got pushed back a little bit, or Bub got pushed back a little bit. So, that's why you don't want to swing your sword when you're jumping. Let's see if we can skip this one. So, yep, we walk, and if you basically encounter the enemy as you're stepping onto the battle area, you'll get into an encounter with the enemy, and that'll take precedent over the fixed battle. So now that we've rescued the child, let's return it. I don't know if it's a he or she, but let's go with a he. Let's return him to, I guess it's his grandmother, because the lady who came out was kind of older. So let's return the child to his family. So, oh, here's another interesting thing. I was saying a lot of times about differences in the Japanese version and this version. In this version, you get items by picking them up. You know, you walk onto the raft, you walk onto the child, and you pick them up, hold them over your head. In the Japanese version, you have to stab the item with your sword, similar to how Link picks up keys in this game. So, yeah, it's really interesting. You have to pick to save the child, you have to stab it. So, yeah, very strange. I guess I can see why they may have taken that out in this version. So, alrighty, well, we got the magic spell of Reflect. It's not a very useful spell. It strengthens your shield so you can block some projectiles like the axes those Darius throw at you, certain fireballs that your regular shield can't Wizard's Robe spells will be reflected back. Most other projectiles, though, aren't reflected back. Your shield will just block them, so... But, yeah, it's kind of a useless spell, but unfortunately, it's a necessary spell. There's quite a few spells like that in the game that don't get a lot of uses. Reflect is mainly just used to take care of one boss. And then another spell, the final spell in the game, the Thunder spell, which is the most powerful spell, is basically only used for one boss as well. So... But, speaking of spells, one good thing, though, is most of the useful spells in the game thankfully gives you right at the beginning. Shield is, you know, very useful throughout the entire game. Like I said, doubles your defense. And Jump is good for mobility. Then the Life spell can help you out in so many jams. And then the Ferry spell gives you mobility for when, you know, to reach areas where you can't use with the Jump. And the Ferry spell is also good for some of those areas where, like those battle areas, or even in palaces, where you're making jumps over platforms. If you get knocked into a pit, you can quick use the Ferry spell to save yourself and fly away before you actually fall into the pit. So a lot of times I like to have my spell set on Ferry when I'm making tough platforming sections. That way, in case I mess up or an enemy knocks me into a pit, I will use Ferry spell to save myself. So we're taking the long way around here most of the time, and if we do that, we're only going to encounter 2 of these little areas. This one we have to encounter, and we want to encounter anyway because there's nothing to fight in here, but there is a magic container number 3. Now, in my bonus episode, I will show off all the different fighting areas here, so... This could also be a decent place to do some grinding, because there's a lot of big enemies. Fire is a pretty relatively cheap spell, and you can get point bag drops. Like I said, every 6 big enemy. Tick-Tights count as big enemies, so we defeated 3 big enemies just in this one battle area. And we just got the magic thing there to refill, and there's another battle area here that has a red pot in it. And there's also level Palace 4 coming up. Palace 4, like Palace 3, has a 50-50 chance of stabbing the Iron Knuckle statue at the beginning and either getting a red pot drop or Iron Knuckle. So, yeah, it's a good way to, you know, gain some, you know, experience there, doing some grinding, so... Upstab is good for taking out eye monsters like this guy right here. We can use it, and now we can heal our life. And we can fill up our magic. Now this palace I like to do in 2 goes. To the left is the way we want to go to get to the crystal and the boss. The right here, though, is where we want to go to get the item. And the item is the boots that walk on water. Kind of hinted at in the that last town. Well, not last town. That was Darunia. But it was hinted at in Naboru. That's what that guy said. If I had boots, I could walk on water. Now, like I said, it's good to split this palace in half because we go to the right here and we get the item, and then we have to go all the way back to the beginning to go left to where the crystal and the boss is. So it's a good time to just, since we're back at the beginning, it's a good time to leave the palace and then basically grind on the, whatchamacallit, on the Iron Knuckle statue, because we can see if it's a red jar, we can heal our life and our magic up, and we just jump in and out of the palace and do that until, so we can make our second descent down into the palace toward the boss with full life and full magic. Jump is good for jumping over these pits here. There's that guy who was throwing the mace. He's kind of difficult. You don't want him to fall into the lava, because then when you get that key on the very far right, when you turn around to come back, he'll respawn, and he's going to be on the very far right edge, so it's going to make that jump really difficult to make. The reflect spell can block that mace, so. But we got 2 Stalfos warriors here. And of course, now we're getting a lot of pots because we don't, point bags, so we don't need them. So, got our blue iron knuckle here. We just wait, let him throw his swords out, and then I guess his arm gets tired. And when he's tired, then we can jump up, stab him. And we get a new pair of shoes, the water walk boots. So, now in a lot of these passages, like the passage that we came from just previously, there'll be a statue at the end, and most of the statues also have a 50-50 chance of dropping red jars. I guess they put a lot of the red jar statues, of potential red jar statue drops in this palace because maybe they figure you're going to be using a lot of reflect if you want to take out these Wizros. I'm not going to be doing that. I'll eventually defeat a Wizrobe later on just to show off how you defeat them, but not in this palace. I want to save my magic for the boss because you need it for the boss. So like I said, we want to make sure this guy doesn't fall in the marinara sauce. Or this guy. Because then when we turn around, they'll be there. You also want to watch this bubble. It can, cause problems. So let's wait until he goes underneath the platforms and then make our way across. These jumps are tricky. You can make them without the jump spell, but why risk it? Jump is pretty cheap. It actually becomes the cheapest spell once you're kind of fully leveled. I have to check my magic there. It might actually be at the point where it's as cheap as shield or cheaper than shield now, so. Watch these dragon heads. They may look infinite, but they're not. Usually there's only, surprisingly, there's only like 2 dragon heads in most cases. So if you just stop real quick, defeat the 2 dragon heads, the rest of the room will be empty. In some rooms there's not, there's more than like 2 dragon heads, but for the most part, surprisingly, you can get away usually defeating 2. So here's some kind of annoying room. I kind of messed up there. But you kind of want to dig down to get the key. You want to dig a little stair pattern here. So I was debating whether to use shield here, because like I said, maybe I'll save some life, and I'm gonna be like I said, doing as I mentioned earlier. Since I got to get back to the beginning of the palace anyway, and I'm gonna pass by the elevator that takes to the entrance. What I'm gonna end up doing is just leaving the palace, and then I'll just off screen farm in the magic jars to be able to fill up my life and also my magic, so I can finish the second half of the palace with, full resources. So if it's a iron knuckle, I'll just turn around. If it's a red pot, I'll pick it up, use life, keep doing that until my life is full, and then get another red pot and head on in. So let's try it out here. So I'll show off how you can basically do it. So we leave, and that resets the thing. We can always kill this guy really easy. We jump up, we hit a red pot. Cool. Now we select our life, we use it again, now we have full life. Step out of the palace, come back in, take out this guy with our up stab. Oh, it's a red iron knuckle, we'll just leave. Hop back in, take out this guy, and we get a pot. And now we're ready to go. We have full life, full magic, and we're ready to make our ascent down into the palace to get the crystal and the boss. Next time, take care, bye!